Nilesh Patel, and I'm the founder and CEO of LeadSquared. Thank you all again for joining in. Really appreciate you all's time to listen to what we have to say here. So, my name is Nilesh, and I'm joined here with my colleague Meenu. She'll be one who will be, helping me address some of the questions which you all may be asking. So the topic of today's discussion, today's webinar is how do businesses can organize their lead to revenue life cycle. It's very common, it's something which is of importance and interest to, I would say, most of the businesses, and not all of them really care about all of this aspect. I mean, everybody cares about the revenue piece. So we'll cover this in details today. So let's dive in. So quickly, let's talk about what constitutes a revenue life cycle. So I don't want to scare you by putting a some 10 cycles graph and show you that's this complex revenue life cycle, and maybe true for a lot of business. Some businesses who have a very complex lead to revenue life cycle. But for a large for a vast number of businesses, there are three main components which I see, which are part of the lead to revenue life cycle. And first is capturing of leads and organizing those in either in systems or have a process and systems or tools to do that. And then engaging and nurturing those leads. So all the leads which you capture or get from a variety of sources may not necessarily be ready to buy. So all leads won't buy at the same, as you capture them. Some will buy, some won't. And then the important piece of closure, which basically the leads which are interested, you go about closing them. So that sort of fills the lead to revenue piece. And the important element in this whole is, apart from having this process in place, we also need the analytics and insights, so for both marketing and sales, to make sense of what we are doing in each of these cycles. So these constitute the three key elements of lead to revenue. So capture and organize, engage and nurture, and sales closure. So let's talk about. So I'll dive directly into what are some of the benefits of these three components, and how we can go about doing it. So first is lead capture. So the business. So if you have a seamless lead capture, we sort of overcome a lot of challenges, primarily around lead leakage and organizing of leads. So how do we go about doing that? So in today's businesses, we get leads from all across channels. So we'll get leads from website, from social media, paid ads, webinars, referral sites, offline events, and so on and so forth. So we get leads from all kinds of sources, and then we are using a variety of channels to capture these leads. So source is one element to it, and then capturing these leads to a system is going to be is going to be dependent on some of these elements. It could be landing pages, it could be form, it could be CTAs, it could be a chat, the phone, API support. And so why I mentioned about API, a lot of businesses, there is you may be buying leads from sources which are generating the third-party sources, I would say, and if you're organizing all these leads in your systems, then it will be better for you to getting those leads dropped in your systems versus manually inputting them. So let me give an example. So let's say a lot of some of the businesses out there would be buying leads from sources like Just Dial and Yelp or whatnot, right? Now these leads, right, which are coming to you, are primarily coming to you, using chat, using email and SMS. So you are getting these leads from Just Dial and all these sources, right? and most of these leads come in your SMS or on your in your emails. Now you'll have to have a person to put those leads in your systems if you're using one. If you're not using one, then obviously it's going down somewhere in an inbox. It's not recoverable. I mean, you cannot really make sense of it. So now lead capture, right? So so we talked. Let me just quickly rephrase this slide one more time. I actually lost track of some of these things because of the small glitch here. So capturing and organizing leads from all sources, right? So you get leads from all these variety of sources, and if the business is not having a mechanism to capture all these leads, there is a chance of leaking, the leakage on the leads. So if you're a business getting leads from the phone or on chat or all of these channels, right, you will not be able to capture if you do not have systems in place to get all of them in one place, then you are losing basically leads out there, right? So that's the lead capture piece. Now, in lead capture, there are ways you can improve the performance of your the marketing spend. So, for example, if you're using things like landing pages, and if you're driving leads using online ads, then you have the opportunity to convert more of your visitors into leads if you are using landing pages and trying to make sense of what and basically creating landing pages in sync with your ads and the message which you're trying to relay, so that you get more conversion out of it. So this is again a way to, so it's really not the seamless piece of it, but basically helping you do more from your leads. Then another challenge which you would see is if you're a business, for example, who have multiple products or multiple locations. So if you're, let's say, a yoga studio or a health and wellness center, which have multiple locations, or an education and training provider with multiple locations, or a company with multiple products and have different salespeople or sales team handling those products. So when a lead comes in, it takes a while for it to actually getting sent to the right guy or the right team to handle that query. So distribution of leads, if it is manual, is going to be result in a slower response to your leads, and eventually some of your competition would reach out to them before you do, and you are not likely to make a sale. The other guy would have an edge over you. So this is again an important piece. And then as you are gathering all leads from a variety of sources, in your lead to revenue life cycle, you would want to know which sources are driving leads for you, so that you have a sense of it. If you do not have a process in place, you are sort of not having a true picture on your fingertips really to know which sources are actually helping you drive your leads. The second important piece in the lead to revenue puzzle is the nurture and engage leads. Now, why do we nurture and engage leads? I mean, because we want to make them sales ready. And the fact of the matter is, all the leads which we get are not going to be converted immediately by the business. So all of them are not going to be buying stuff from you immediately. Now, it depends on business to business. If you're in the services business, really, you're not going to sell unless there is a discussion or presentations or probably a meeting. If you're selling a low value item, it might so happen that you can sell it quickly over the phone itself. But in a lot of businesses, there'll be some sales cycle involved, which basically means that before a lead buys the product or a service, there is a time gap which is there, and in that time gap, you have to make sure you are engaging and nurturing leads. So that's for the guys who are willing to sell to these, who are willing to buy from you, right? And then you have other leads who may not be intent on buying at the moment, and in your case, you have the ability to sell to those leads. For example, let's take in a case of a company who's providing a training program or training, some sort of a technical training. An individual who is looking out for buying the training may not be immediate buyer at the moment. He or she may be just learning about what are the advantages of taking training on that course. But over a period of time, they may decide to take the course, and the company or the business who is keeping in touch with this lead will eventually have the opportunity to sell to that particular lead. So that's the reason we nurture these leads. So now, one of the important elements in lead nurturing or engagement, I would say, is the promptness of the engagement as soon as you get the lead. So prompt piece is important. So as soon as the lead comes in, there has to be either you send an email, or you call them, or you send an SMS, or there is a way for you to reach out to them if your business requires a contact to be made with the customer, potential customer, before before you're selling to them. So one is getting in touch with the lead itself, and then sending an alert to your salespeople to go and connect with the lead. So the promptness of response to the query, to the inquiry, is very, very important. And another thing is in this piece is, as you go ahead and respond to your leads, even in the prompt fashion, there is still an opportunity to further drive the engagement. So, for example, in most cases, you would notice that if you fill a form or something like that, you will get thank you very much for filling a form, and basically it ends there. So what just happened really is, if you're just saying that thank you very much and you're ending the story, you're not basically taking advantage of the opportunity to further sell to that lead. So what can you do then, right? So if anybody fills the form, let's say on your site or a particular product page, you can either send them a product brochure, right? Or it could be a testimonial of how others are benefiting from buying a product or service, or anything which is relevant in driving those engagements. It could be, let's say you have won some award in a certain from a reputed organization, then you can add that into your notes. So what that basically gives you as a business an advantage over others, that you are able to further create some sort of mind share in your leads mind about your business in a positive way, and using the promptness channel, the auto response and email as a channel for that. Then the other piece is, before lead actually makes a buying decision, right? So in the life cycle of that, before it turns into revenue for you, and they have not bought yet, then you can further go ahead and drive the engagement, automated engagement, for example. So let's say this is very relevant in some cases for, I would say, both all kinds of businesses really, but in education it comes to my mind that, let's say if you're a training provider, or you offer some sort of online program, you may come up with the simple 3 or 4 session of 15 minutes or half an hour each, which is like a free program which you offer, right? If you want to offer that free program, you can say sign up here and get this free program in next 5 emails or something like that, and then you send those program links in your emails, which are automatically being sent to this lead. So you're further getting to know of all the 1,000 leads or more who have signed up for this program, which are actually showing more interest in elements of that program, and you can go and sell it to them, for example, right? So periodicity of connect helps you further get the top of the mind from your leads, and drive deep the mind your brand in their in the mind of your potential customers. Then there is another element in this process, which is, so for example, if you're selling multiple products, right, then a lead which is interested in product A may want to know information about that more than all other things which you sell. So what that means is you want to be more targeted about what you are sending to your leads, and it is it is based on the engagement and behavior they are showing with your business, right? So you can basically have things like, if a lead is visiting some of your product pages or pricing pages, you may want to offer them a discount, or if they're looking at a features page, then you may send a benefit related statement saying whoever has used one of our courses have been able to get a job, or have been able to get a raise in salary, whatever, right? So whatever the benefit they are there, for your respective business, you can sort of send that. If you're a travel business, you may, if they're visiting a particular destination page on your site, then you may want to send them information about why that destination is so cool, to go, in next 3 months, for example. What are the precautionary measures they need to take before they actually book a travel there? So whatever those, elements of selling which are required, you may want to add that based on the interest which is being shown by your lead. So that stuff you can drive based on. So this is again important piece, the nurture and engage. And then in any element of your lead to revenue lifecycle, you will need to look at the analytics and how each of those are performing for your business. So if whatever emails you're sending, whatever autoresponders you're sending, you want to understand which of them is getting opened more, so you can make sense out of it in terms of what your customers are liking more, what messages are resonating with them more, sort of a thing. Then finally, closing more deals, right? So that involves two elements. So basically helping you improve, whatever you're selling today to sell you more, or sell you, or allowing you to sell it more efficiently. So how do we? So the key piece here is helping in the lead to revenue lifecycle. If you want to improve efficiency, you want to focus on leads which are showing more interest in buying a product or service. So then you can look at your funnel and see which of those leads are actually showing more interest. So if you know which are the hot ones, the sales team will focus on those, and the marketing can continue to focus on the ones which are not ready to buy today. Because even if you have a sales conversation with them, they are not ready basically to have a have a call with you. So helping you identifying the leads which are sales ready is important part in this in the lead to, if you want to optimize your lead to revenue lifecycle. Then knowing more about your leads, right? So getting to know what they have looked at, getting to know what products are they're interested in, and finding and basically keeping a history of all the stuff which you have been talking to them. If there's a lead which is there in your cycle, in your database for 6 months, you're not and they've not shown any interest lately, but they did showed a lot of interest 6 months back. It'll be cool to know what has been the history of this lead, so that you can appropriately have a conversation with them. So getting to know that will be of very importance to the business. So getting the more insights you have, better sales conversations you can have with your leads. Then in some businesses, the salespeople are on the field, so having the information about lead and their interest on the go is super important. So in ideal situation, you may want to have apps on mobile, so that your salespeople are aware and can look at the stuff on the go. Not only that, but also reports about the performance of the business. If you're a business owner, you may want to quickly check how a particular campaign has gone based on the reports you can access on mobile. So that'll be cool. So then so these are the three important components I would categorize are part of the lead to revenue life cycle. And then once you have all of these in place, then we need to see how to measure and improve the business performance. So you have all of these things going on. So it's important that we have the marketing and sales analytics. So if we have these things in place, then we will be able to do the following things seamlessly, right? So we'll be able to see measure revenue by lead source. So where which are the sources where driving more sales versus others, and obviously as you already know what you're spending on them, so you can easily figure out the effectiveness of the channel for you. What are you making from each geo? If you're selling across geographies, you can find that information pretty seamlessly. You can find who's selling more for you. So by salesperson, you can look at the performance. You can also look at the performance by product or service. So you can say which product is selling more. And in some cases, you can, based on the tools you're using, you can also find, performance one level deeper. So by product, by source sort of thing, or by product, by salesperson sort of thing. Then so okay, we talked about all this good stuff about driving, getting a lead, organizing the lead capture, putting engagement, nurturing in place, and all of that. So, but who should really care about it? I mean, if you're organization thinking and liking this idea, then who in your company should really worry about it? These are I think these are folks who should really worry about, and there is a couple others there. So business owners and the CXOs, really the chief executives, need to sit and make sure that they have these things ready, because those are the folks who are actually responsible for the performance of the business. The head of marketing operations. Oh, I had a typo here. Should be OF, or sorry about that. So head of marketing operations, marketing managers who are running the campaigns and who are driving leads for the business and are responsible for engaging and delivering leads which are sales ready to the salespeople, and the sales folks themselves. So primarily the head of sales operations or inside sales managers and those folks. So these are the people who are tasked or should be worried about or who should care about having these having or implementing lead to revenue lifecycle. Then let's say if you are if you're in audience, if there are the folks who do not have this process, then what should if you don't have one, then what do you do? I mean, you should start and start building one if you don't have one, right? But why? So the key reason, very simply put, the reasons why you would want to have that is, the first and the foremost is you are missing opportunities if you don't have a lead to revenue lifecycle in place in your business. There'll be lead leakage. You'll be losing leads coming from a variety of channels. If you don't have the systems in place and process in place, your leads will get slower response from your business, which means the competition will have a run, so they will be able to sell better or faster from you. Then you would not be able to engage with your leads. So not having these tools will allow you so you won't be able to drive the engagement with your leads, meaning somebody else who is doing it will have an edge on you. So the party who's engaging with the leads will have their mind share, and which will result in getting deals turned to them versus coming to your business. And you won't be able to identify which leads to focus on, which are more sales ready today versus all the leads which you have in your business. Then you're basically leaving money on the table is what it means. Then you won't have an analytics. So lack of analytics means you can't tie marketing to business goals. Most marketing people I've met or spoken to, most of them are tasked with the goals, primarily with the goals of lead generation. In only certain cases, I've heard that there are the marketing managers and the marketing heads are being tasked for revenue piece, or there is some component of revenue associated with it. I mean, in large firms they have more structured processes in place, but for mid-sized firms and smaller businesses, that is not the case. So, and why? Because there is no way to measure what is being going on. So how can you actually tie it to them? So with having no analytics, you can't tie marketing to business goals, and then you won't know for sure which channels are actually working for you and or working against you. So if you're spending money in 4 or 5 different directions, you're not sure which ones is actually making sense for the business. And then you will keep guessing of what your potential customers are liking, right? So what stuff they like to hear from you, what stuff is of interest to them. And so if you don't know that, then you're basically at a disadvantage position. Then I've brought in some insights from a Forrester study, which was done by Forrester, which is a market research company, a leader in market research. So very interesting insight. So in this research, roughly 300 companies participated, and there were two types of companies: the one who had lead to revenue cycle in place, and along with the lead to revenue management system. And then the companies who do not have the lead to revenue management systems in place, so they did have processes, but may not have a lead to revenue management systems like LeadSquared in place. So these are the results of the study. So the companies who had the lead to revenue management system are more than 50%, 165 and 134. So of those companies, so the survey was done across a few types. So they were asked, how many of them have a better campaign or a campaign planning going on without or with the lead to revenue management system. So 52% who had lead to revenue management system had a campaign planning going on in their organization versus the 40% who do not have LRM but still had the campaign planning process in their organization. So this stat is not is still all right, but let's look at this. The companies who did not have systems have performed poorly against the ones who have systems in place. So having lead management system, the 57% of these companies had the lead management process nailed down because of the LRM system they had in place. So one of the things which you would notice in this slides is that even not having an LRM system in place doesn't mean that you cannot organize your lead to revenue process. The important piece is having systems in place, not necessarily one system in place, right? So, but what has been shown here is the companies who have this integrated systems in place were able to do it better than their peers who were not having one. So in the companies who had lead nurturing going on, those are the ones who had LRM systems in place were doing better than the ones who did not have. Lead scoring. So this would, the companies who did not have an LRM system typically won't have lead scoring or would have basic minimal lead scoring, which sometimes are offered by one-off CRM systems out there. But apart from that, they won't have it because lead scoring is one of the core part of lead to revenue solutions. So that's why you would see a big skew here. And then having the process of passing lead from marketing to sales at a certain point is something which is more automated if you have a LRM system versus if you don't have. So let's say if you don't have an LRM system, then what would it look like today? So today, if a lead is generated in most cases, then directly it will be handed over to sales. So that's how it happens by and large, without much qualification before it is handed over to sales. And maybe in some businesses it is not required. I mean, the sales is the next point of contact after the lead is generated. But in certain other businesses, you don't want to take sales bandwidth unless the lead has shown enough interest to be qualified for a sales conversation. And then reporting on marketing performance. So having systems in place, the majority of the audience where systems were in place had a better overall percentage of having marketing performance reporting in place. So that's the key findings of this report were. Now, if you don't have one, how to go about setting the system in place, right? So let's face it, it is work. It won't be easy. Let me not say what easy. It is work, as in depending on the size of the business, right? Depending on what your business comprises of, there'll be work which is proportionate to that will be there for you. So if you're a really small business having only few sources of leads coming to you, then it'll be much easier for you to set it up versus the ones who have variety of sources and multiple locations and all of that stuff. Then it'll be that much more work for you to set this up in place. So I've identified 4 key things which in my opinion are required for us to have this in place. First is we need to identify who's going to do it, right? I mean, any business who wants to get this stuff in place need to first find people who are actually going to get this done. So if it's a relatively smaller business, then entrepreneur themselves will have to start doing this piece. Or if you're a little bit larger business, then folks in your marketing or sales team or marketing and sales team will need to sit together and get this done. Then you would like to identify the business metrics you want to measure. So for example, are you looking at cost per sale, looking at cost per lead, looking at cost per lead by channel, looking at cost per sale by channel, looking at cost per sale by product, looking at so whatever things you would like to know, so that you can so you need to identify those metrics in advance, or as much as possible in advance, so that you can ensure that what you're trying to implement will result in those metrics for you. Then you need to go about mapping the elements of your process, whatever. So you have a process. Most businesses who are existing will have a way to get leads. There'll be a process for somebody reaching out, or the lead showing up on your door, whatever the case may be, and then you're connecting with them. So all businesses will have some process. the important thing is you need to map that process to a lead to revenue lifecycle, which is, so all businesses have this thing in place, the lead to revenue lifecycle, only then they are actually in a business. But then mapping these elements will help you identify where you will put the measurement in place. For example, if you're getting leads on the phone as well as on the website, right? So website leads are going in email, and phone leads are God knows where, right? So you need to find, okay, this is where I'm getting my leads from. So I need to figure out a way to get them together so that I can make sense out of it, right? So then you need to, so you know, okay, I'm a real estate business. I get leads on the phone. I also get visitors. I also have partnerships who are sending leads to me. So this is my lead capture piece. So I'm getting leads from these 4 or 5 sources. So that's the understanding they need to make themselves, and then appropriately plan the system. Then they would have, okay, I do newsletters, so you would, or I do SMS campaigns, or I do so and so things on my leads to keep them engaged. Then if they are not in one place, then half of them are actually not engaged really, right? So getting those things in place and tying that to and giving those leads in a seamless way to sales, as in when they get sales ready, is what you need to map and put that in, and identify those elements and put them in your basically put them in the process which you want to implement in the organization. And then in a lot of cases you would find that there will be tools available which will be relevant to so that you can use those tools to implement the processes which you've identified. So, and nobody's saying here that you need a single tool to get all of these things done. There are benefits of doing that. But if you're a business who already have 1 or 2 or 3 tools, for example, in place, and you find that, oh, I just need one more tool to get this thing organized, then you should look at that as well. However, the challenge in those situations which you have seen is that you will be able to run the process, but you won't be able to get the metrics, because all the tools which are out there typically are not connected to each other. So you will still be able to run the process, but the metrics will be elusive. So that is the reason why you want to look at either connected systems or integrated systems to ensure that the not only the process is being implemented appropriately, but also the metrics are coming out for you, so that you can make sense from a business standpoint. So with that, I've reached the end of my session. I'd love to get questions from you all and address it for you. So let's have those questions coming in. And my colleague Minu has probably already answered. Thanks, Minu, for handling those questions. And whatever you see there, maybe you can tell it to me. We can address them.
Nilesh, whatever questions were there, I've answered them via chat. So, guys, if you have any other questions, please type them out and we'll answer them. Okay, so Amit is asking what lead nurturing is. He's a little confused with it.
Okay, Amit, lead nurturing, I would let me try to find out a simple way, right? So, so this might look funny to some of you guys, right? So, if you have ever fallen in love, right, when you were probably young, you would go back and try to give roses or greetings to your to your beloved, right? Trying to get her attention. So all the stuff which you do to get that stuff out to her is nurturing. So you are basically nurturing her so that at some point you can close the deal, right? So that's the simple way I would put it. I hope that explains. So in the business side of things, I would say that you would basically you would engage with the prospect, try to understand what their needs are, send them information which will help them make the decisions easier. So nurturing would mean that you would so obviously in older days we used to send your traditional mailers and all of those things to engage our prospects, but today we have the stuff like emails and all of these things to send so we can utilize these to engage our prospects. So yeah, I hope I didn't make a big deal out of it, but I thought that'll be a simple parallel to draw.
Anshu is asking how to get more leads for financial planning firm. Best idea for doing that.
So I mean, there is no best idea really. You have to really work through and find the best ideas yourself. I mean, that's not an easy one to answer. but you try all the channels, so you spend money on, so there are two parts to it. Now, one is getting leads for financial planning, and second is converting them into a customer, right? Now, if you look at your financial planning, your audience, right? There will be some audience whom you would go and pitch a deal to, basically say, I'll take care of your financials and all that stuff. Some people will agree immediately, looking, saying that this has come from a, sort of a trusted source, a sort of thing, and they will, hand their money over to you. But a lot of guys won't, because they don't trust you. And in money matters, trust is the super important, in my opinion, is the most important element where they would trust a financial planner or not with their money. Now, that being said, if you would also find that, if you continue to engage with the financial planners, you would be able to, the financial planners continue to engage with their leads and build trust, which may actually be built over time. And I'll take a simple example of my own, right? I had a banker who used to work with me, and in 2007 I lost money in, some of these, they were bad, 2008 I would say, and when the stock market crashed and all of that stuff. And I started hating that guy, really. I mean, I said he spent my money in wrong stuff and all of that stuff, right? Obviously, there was some blame on me as well. But from that point onwards, this individual has kept in touch with me, okay? So it's been like 6 years now. And he is, obviously he understands he made a mistake, and also I made a mistake, and he didn't stop me. And so, being a financial planner, you have to advise your clients when they, when they are making wrong choices. But today, he has gained my trust back. So over those course of 6 years, he never, he kept meeting me and talking to me, never asking for my business. But today, he has again regained my trust. So, you see what I'm saying, right? So that's what I would call as a way to not only get the lead. So getting lead is not the most important thing in financial planning business, I would say, but also getting their trust would be very, very important. So it's sort of a long answer to this short question, but I hope it makes sense for you.
Okay, so all right. Suprabha is asking what is lead? For the common definition for both sales and marketing together.
Yes, so I think that needs to be derived by sales and marketing sitting together, right? I mean, so whatever both of you agree on, a lead definition, that's what a definition is. So it's a hard one to crack, and you only have to, talk to each other to find out. But there are simple parameters you can look at. So, for example, which are more driven by certain numbers, where the clashes will be few. For example, if you are a B2B business, you may the marketing can define together with sales, saying, if I get you a qualified appointment or a call with the VP of sales or VP of marketing or chief financial officer of a company with the size of more than 1,000 people, or $10 million revenue or $100 million in revenue, so you agree on that number. And if I get you a meeting, as far as I'm concerned, I've given you a lead which is good enough. So that's one way to sort of narrow it. Another way would be the sales will say, no, that's not enough for me, because you're really handing over a name to me and saying, you can call this guy. But what I also want to know is whether this guy is actually interested in getting any information or having a sales conversation or not. So now if that is the case, then the marketing needs to further qualify. So then in that case, the marketing needs to have a little bit more bandwidth to have a meaningful conversation before they hand the lead over to the sales, so that they are enough. So either they have the sales development rep in their team, so that you call the respective party and talk to them, and then get 2 or 3 questions answered about the budget, need, authority, all of that stuff, so that before you hand it over to the sales, you have those things in place. So yeah, I think it's really a conversation between the two between the marketing and sales to really have this conversation, nailing down the lead criteria.
All right. Madhushree is asking what are referral websites? That is, how do we generate leads from there?
When I say referral website, I sort of club together a lot of things, really. So things like Just Dial, I mean, that's a referral website. So you post on Just Dial if your business, if your customers are searching on places like Just Dial or Sulekha, or or Siksha. So those are referral sites, I would say. And then could be other, if you're a software company, have a affiliate program, then you can plug into some of the affiliate networks and get those leads coming in. So those those would be your, again, referral site or referral sites where you get the leads from, I would say.
So Madhushri is asking about API also. What is API support?
Okay, when I meant by API, what I really meant is, consider these companies, Just Dial and all of these guys, right? They typically send leads in email and SMS. Now, there could be a case where the business who is receiving these leads, if they get in SMS and email, and they are already using certain systems, then they will have to manually enter those leads into their respective systems. The option for them could be that you ask Just Dial or Siksha to not send you leads in email, but send those leads directly into your systems, so that the two things will happen. First, you will automatically distribute those leads based on the interest, whatever the lead is coming from. Or first, second, you won't lose those leads at all, because those are directly going into your systems. So these are the ways you will be able to save on lead leakage and derive more promptness for your lead. So when you do these kind of integrations, you need API, which is the application programming interface, between these two systems to talk. So that way it will help you, ensure that lead leakage is minimal. So that's why you go for that.
Wilfred has asked which activities must be considered for lead scoring.
I think lead scoring. Now let's try to see how do we calculate that. Now, first and foremost, it has to be dependent on the business type. So that is an important thing. Then second is, in the business, there are events. For example, in our own case, so webinar is one kind of activity which we do, and then we have people join in and all of that. Now, all the people who attend our webinar gets a certain score versus all the people who participated, as in who registered. Right? So we have. So who should get a higher score? The one who actually attended, because they are showing more interest in what we are trying to say and all of that stuff. So that is how you would rate your activities, and wherever you see a higher engagement or higher effort from the lead side to connect with your business, that is where you will get a higher score versus the other activities. And then these are all relative. So if an email open is 1 point, let's say, anybody filling a form has to be more than that, for example, right? How much more can be a function of form itself. So for example, there are two forms. One is subscribe to newsletter and another is call me now. So which one should get a higher score? So these are some of the things you can look at and say, okay, based on the interest of a lead, you can assign a score, and based on the activity which you consider in your business are important, you would assign them a score.
A lead may yield revenue after a long time sometimes. So how do we keep track of these leads? So Prabha has asked this question.
Yeah, I think tracking these leads certainly will require systems. If the life cycle of the lead, if the life cycle from lead starting point to closure is let's say months, it's very hard for you to keep track of those manually. So you can even do that by if your lead volume is like very minimal. So lead comes in, you put that in Excel, put a date of when it has come, put a source from where it has come, and when they close, you look back into that Excel. But let's face it, right? How often do we were going to religiously go and write the stuff in Excel? It's not going to happen, right? Even if it does, you would not put all of that. Some of that you would, some of that you miss. So you're not getting all the complete picture. So having systems in place, in my opinion, is a must for such situations, to make sure we get a complete picture of when the lead came in and when it closed. Looks like we're running out of questions.
There are multiple. I'm just passing through them. Arindam is asking how to make the best use of LeadSquared in real estate business.
Well, it's already being used by a lot of real estate players, both brokers and builders. So if it's I would let some of my salespeople to answer that question, if it is all right. So we'll have somebody call you and explain a couple of the case studies which on the real estate side where we have done. So if you think that's all right, we can do that.
All right. So Rudolph has asked, does a lead life cycle from generation to closure differ for every marketing channel?
Yes, possible. So let's take an example, right? I mean, anybody searching on Google Ads, not Google Ads, Google search engine, and find your ad and basically becomes a lead. They may be immediately searching for something there. So if I'm going to search for, let's say, packers or movers to move my home from Bangalore to Indore, for example, I'm searching for a packer and mover, and I'm going to make that decision within like 10, 15 days or even 5 days, depending on where I am in my moving cycle. So I go and search on Google, and then I find a couple of guys, I fill those form, and it goes like that. If I'm on Facebook, first of all, I don't even know if I'm going to click that ad, which is the packer and mover thing. Even if I click it and I'm not interested, I will still fill that form for some reason. So in Google, if you see, the intent is very strong, because I'm actually searching for that thing right now, and then I want to close it potentially, in a short while. So you can look at that as a example of why one channel could be better than. So I'm not saying here that Facebook is worse than Google. I'm just saying that the intent is more clear in this channel. Now the same can be again looked at, let's say, a newspaper ad. So newspaper ad comes in, it says certain message there on buying a real estate property. I make a call, and so if I'm making a call, there is an interest I'm showing. That's the reason I'm making a call. So the lead which is making a call is making an effort to reach out to the business. So the more a lead tries on a particular channel, the higher the chance of that lead having more interest with your business. So yes, there could be different, lead to closure time, the starting to closure time for different channels, and unless you look at them, you won't be able to sort of find out which ones are actually making, sense and value for you.
Anshu wants best practices for landing pages. So we have conducted many webinars in the past, and we have ebooks also on the topic, so we'll just send them across to you.
Yeah, you can look at some
blog
of our
posts
blog,
as well, yes.
So blog posts as well. Yeah, so there are we talk about them about those practices there, so that you can get more, just improve the results immediately of your landing page performance.
Narsimha is asking how to get leads for corporate training.
You should do yoga, man. Just kidding. I think if you're doing corporate training, right, so what you're really doing is selling B2B, so you're selling to a business. So if I were you, I need to go and contact the B2B in a B2B fashion. So I will do the following. I'll do ads, I'll do outbound calls, I'll do outbound email outreach, So these are 3 things I'll try, and then I'll go and meet and attend seminars or all of those things, local events where the HR or the people or the training guys are available from these corporates, so that I can meet them and exchange business cards with them. And so these are the ways I would sort of approach the lead generation for this set. Is that all?
I'm
Do
checking.
you have any more questions?
So Ishwar, he's left now. He was asking how to efficiently use content marketing for lead.
Yeah, if you're already doing it, then I think that's a good one, because efficiency will come once you start doing it. So if you have not done it, then I think you should start doing that first. So content has all kinds of forms. Written content is blog. Webinar is one kind of content. If you put a PPT on slideshow, that's another kind of content. If you create a video, that's another kind of content. You do a local event around something which you're trying to promote, that's another type of content. So you have to figure out which content you are good at first, and then improve the quality and reach of that content. Right. So I think the question is inwards really. First is what kind of content you can produce, and can you produce good content for that type. And when I say good content, I'm assuming that whatever we are producing is making sense to the audience, which is for which that content is being prepared to. So that I think if you are able to make that happen, you should be able to. So take an example from our side. I mean, we are not doing a lot of videos really. Our YouTube channel is not having a whole lot of videos, but we do webinars regularly because we feel that we are able to produce enough content in a couple of weeks to share with our audience and subscribers. So that is one we are continuing to do so, and we try to get better at it each time. So we found that this channel has worked for us. At least we have a consistent set of audience who come and hear us, for example, right? So that's one way I would sort of a way I would explain that question. We've got 2 more minutes.
Yeah. So Akshar is asking if in content marketing is there any ratio for image to text?
Yeah, I mean, there's no ratio defined. If you've seen fashion magazines, you hardly see content there. All you see is photos, right? So it's a function of what business you are in and what your audience actually are interested to look at. So then you would define that strategy. You try a couple of things, and I mean, I think one thing is pretty obvious today. The text is not the best content. Which is being consumed. If you're writing text, really it is being used by Google. You're really feeding Google the text, and it's also getting smarter. But images has to play an important role in relaying the stuff which you want them to, because the visuals have a very different power in terms of attracting the audience interest, and also depends on the business. For example, if you're in travel business, you need to give images which are relevant to the destination and all of that stuff. If you're in a real estate business, you won't put a half-baked photo of half-done building. That doesn't look good. What you would probably do is put pictures of happy people having a home, sort of thing, right? So those things, right? So there is no sort of an answer by the 50% text and 50% sort of thing. It has to be derived based on the business type and the audience which you're catering to. All right, everybody, I think we have hit the 4 p.m. Timeline. So thank you all for joining. I hope you enjoyed the session, and keep coming to our webinars. I hope it makes you learn new things here, and please do fill the surveys. We really get value from them so that we can do better in the next ones. And thank you all for joining, and you have an awesome weekend.